Hello, welcome or welcome back to Reading to Write. It's quite early right now and also quite cold, hence I'm a little bundled up this morning. If you haven't tuned in to the last video, I am currently in the process of moving to a different state, so I wanted to take you around my favorite little bookstores in the area that I currently live in, which is the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. Last episode, we went to my favorite bookstore of all time in this area. And today we will be going to my second favorite bookstore, but in addition to that, we're also going to be walking to a few little libraries that I often go to in the same area that this bookstore is in. So to get started, we're going to do another book unhaul, which is what we're here for right now. I'm just going to quickly walk you through the books that I'm going to deposit at the little libraries, and then we'll go on a trip there. I'll tell you more about the little libraries, and then we'll head to the bookstore. So the first book that I will be depositing in one of the little libraries is Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I read this book a long time ago. I did enjoy it. I gave it I think 3 stars. It's an easy read. It's a cute story. You know, I don't think for as like well talked about as Nicholas Sparks is, I was kind of expecting more from the actual writing and like storytelling standpoint, but it was a little telly. Like it kind of just told you everything that happened. At least for me, there was no real emotional impact when it came to the characters, so I kept it on my bookshelf because I wanted to have a Nicholas Sparks book on my bookshelf. Since we are moving and I need to like kind of lighten our load a little bit, I will be giving this away. It's a little bit beaten up. I did get it from, actually I got it from the secondhand bookstore that I just showed you in the last episode. So instead of giving it back to them to trade for, I'm just going to put it in a little library so somebody else can pick it up for free. The next book that I will be giving away in the little library is Crazy Rich Asians. This is actually one that I did try to bring to the secondhand bookstore in the last episode, but I think they had too many copies of this at the time, so they wouldn't accept it. So I will be depositing that one there. If you want to know why I'm getting rid of this one, go watch the last video. The third book that I will be putting in the little library is Inventions, Research, and Writings of Nikola Tesla. I got this book a really long time ago. I really liked the edition of it. It has these like, you know, shiny edges. It's like a really cool looking hardback. My fiance is super into science, so I thought it would be a fun gift for him. I also maybe was thinking like, oh, maybe one day I can use this like to research for a book that I'm gonna write or something like that, since it does have a lot of like inventions and like the thoughts of Nikola Tesla in it. So I thought I could use it for that, but we've had it for like years. I don't even remember when I got this, and we have literally never touched it. So I'm gonna put it in the little library, and hopefully somebody else who's interested in this can pick it up and enjoy it. The fourth book that I'm going to deposit in the little library is The Challenger Customer. This is a book that an old boss got for me like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I used to be in customer success, which is kind of like a salesy side of customer service. So she got this for our whole team so that we could like read it and kind of become more persuasive in our jobs. I actually do think that the premise of this book is pretty interesting. It's about identifying the persuasive person in a group of like executives or, you know, business leaders to like get them on your side so that they can help you sell to the rest of the team. And I read the first like few pages, and it doesn't seem like it's badly written. Like it was pretty interesting, but I don't want to go back into customer success at any point, and I just don't think that this book would be of value to me at this point. And since we're moving, like I don't want to haul it across states, so it's going in the little library. And then the last book that I will be depositing is The Girl on the Train, which I actually picked this up from one of these little libraries not too long ago because it was free, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll read it at some point. And while I might be interested in reading this sometime in the future, I don't see when that's going to be, so I can't justify bringing this book with me when I don't know when I'll read it, and it's like a heavy hardback, and I could just like get it from the library if I ever get interested in reading it again. So it's going back in the little library, sadly, before I was able to read it. So those are the 5 books we're going to deposit. We're going to try, like in the last one, we're going to try really hard not to pick up another book while we're going there, because the whole point is to get rid of books and not replenish the stack. I'll show you what the trek is like when we get to that area. All right, so we are in downtown Mountain View, heading to the little libraries in the suburb that I like to go to around here. I'm trying to be sneaky because it's a little weird filming outside. This is my first time walking in a neighborhood and filming. I'm also supposed to be working right now, but I'm being forced to quit, so what do I care? So yeah, we're gonna take a tour of 3 different little libraries that I like to go to. I have my bag right here with the books in it. And then we're gonna stop at the bookstore that I like to go to that is in downtown Mountain View on Castro Street. So let's go. Okay, we're coming up on little library number 1. I'm whispering because there's guys working in the next house. Goodbye, girl on the train. And goodbye, the Challenger customer. I'll put this one here specifically because a lot of like business books and stuff get put in here a lot. There's this cute little park on my walk. It's pretty empty today. Sometimes they have events here. And then just past the park, there's this really beautiful walkway on the road to the next little library. If you don't know about little libraries, they are kind of like little community birdhouses where you can leave books that you don't want anymore. And then other people can walk by and come and get them. They can also leave books. So it's kind of like a book trading thing. That's really, really cool. They're in, I think, 114 countries. I'll confirm this later. 114 countries. So you can probably find some in your neighborhoods. But this is the second one. As you can see, they all have kind of their own little personality. Take a look at the books first to see if there's anything we want. I don't think so, which is good because we're supposed to be getting rid of books. Goodbye, Nikola Tesla. I hope somebody finds you that will enjoy reading you. Is it me or does this tree kind of look like a sitting woman? Alright, now we're coming up to some areas where I might run into some of my coworkers who are also out walking on like walking meetings and stuff like that, so fingers crossed that doesn't happen because that'd be awkward. If anyone is curious what I meant by being forced to quit, my job won't approve me to work remote even though the job is perfectly capable doing remote. So since I'm moving, they won't keep me on, so sadly I have to look for a new job. Have some beautiful flowers that are blooming. Some honeybees that are out. It is hot as balls today, so I'm starting to sweat. That's why it's important to have a work deodorant for when you go back. And there is the third little library up ahead. This one is actually my favorite. Not only because it's the coolest design, it has some like graffiti on it that you'll see, but also because this one also tends to be the one that has like science fiction and fantasy books more than the other two. The first one is more like religious books and business books. The second one usually has like romance and I don't know, some other things that I don't particularly like, but this is my favorite. Ironically, it doesn't really seem like there are any sci-fi or fantasy books in here really, but I will leave my 2 romance books then, Crazy Rich Asians and Safe Haven. Crazy Rich Asians is actually more of a satire, but whatever. Goodbye, books. Alright, now on to the bookstore. Books Inc. has 11 locations around the Bay Area. This one often has mushroom displays at the front. Sometimes they switch it up with Studio Ghibli. They do National Month displays and are always bringing in new books, especially from debut authors and local authors. They sometimes have new books quicker than Barnes & Noble does. On their old bookmarks, they said they're the oldest independent bookseller on the West Coast. They got their start back in 1851 during the gold rush. They have a lot of sale books and staff recommended picks, host author events, and so much more, so definitely check them out if you're in the area. Fun fact, I actually got my editions of Lord of the Rings from this location. It was actually really hard for me to not buy this edition of Fable because I thought it was absolutely stunning with these sprayed edges. I started this video with this hat on, so I thought it'd be fun to film it with this on again. It is a little bit colder here. I also have not washed my hair, so I didn't want you to see all the greasiness. Welcome to my new setup. For right now, it does look pretty similar to my old setup. I have kind of rearranged the way the books are on the bookshelf. I didn't do like help me set up my new bookshelf because I didn't think it would be that interesting, but if anybody wants me to give you a quick walkthrough of what the bookshelf looks like now, I can do that at some point. It's been a little bit since I filmed the first part of this video. We have moved into our new place. We're basically all settled in. Things are going really well. I'm quite happy here. But I did want to close out this video with a couple things that I did not get to film while we were in California. After I filmed the last part of this video where I went to Books Inc., I did end up going back there a couple weeks later, as well as back to the Recycle Bookstore West. So my plan to not buy things didn't fully last until we moved, but I'm actually quite happy about that because I did really want to buy a couple things from those two bookstores in particular since they were my favorite in California. Let's start with the Recycle Bookstore West. So when I went back the second time, I did actually trade in a couple other books that I decided in the end that I didn't want to keep, and I got some credits where I was able to get 2 used books, the first one being Daisy Jones and the Six. I've mentioned in a previous video that I've never read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Literary fiction usually isn't my thing, so I don't read a lot of it, but out of all of the books in her catalog, this is the one that I am the most excited to read. I'm pretty glad that I was able to get this one for free, especially since it's in pretty good condition. Like there's no major issues with it. Maybe I'll read that at some point in the future. Who knows when I'll get to it. I've been really bad about reading lately. I've only read 4 books at this point and we only have like 5 months left in the year. So yeah, I gotta get on that pretty soon. I'm actually gonna film another video later today to address that issue, so we'll get to that. But then the second used book that I got, which I had no intention of getting, but this edition looked super cool, is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Last year, I read a lot of classics, and one of the ones that I read when I was younger and revisited, Jesus, this keeps hitting me in the face. One of the ones that I read and revisited last year was The Hound of the Baskervilles, and I absolutely loved it. It's, I think, one of my favorite classics at this point in time. So I'm really excited to read more. And there was this edition and I just really fucking love it. And the fact that it was a used book, so it was way cheaper than it would be, I couldn't pass it up. Like I got both of these books for free, so I can't really complain. So that's it for the Recycle Bookstore West. I'm very sad to not be able to go there anymore, but rest assured, anytime that I go back to the Bay Area, I will definitely be going back to that bookstore. And then from Books Inc., I also got 2 books that were on sale, and both of them are actually classics, funny enough. The first is The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft. I have never read H.P. Lovecraft before, but I've been super interested in this story in particular for a really long time, because I know about Cthulhu. The idea of, you know, kind of the Eldritch horrors and that kind of stuff is really interesting to me. I really like all of the artwork that's done for Cthulhu. I also really love South Park's rendition of Cthulhu. I thought that the, what was it called? It wasn't Imagination Land, was it? The one where they're all like pretending to be superheroes and BP like breaks the moon and calls Cthulhu is one of my favorite like trilogies in South Park of all time. That's a tangent. Anyway, I really want to read this, and it was like $7 for this kind of cool edition of it, so I got it. And then I think from the same like vein of this like Page Classics editions, I also got Frankenstein. Again, I've never read Frankenstein, but I hear super great things about this and Mary Shelley. This is the first science fiction book that was like ever really written, so I'm really excited to get to this as well. Maybe I'll read it this Halloween, who knows. And then the final thing that I got from Books Inc. is this journal. So I got the Nightmare Before Christmas tote bag that you saw earlier in this video that I took on my way to the little libraries. I got that from the Recycle Bookstore West, and I'm really happy that I did because it's like kind of a permanent thing that I can use again and again. So I kind of wanted to do something similar for Books Inc., which like a journal isn't super permanent, but it is something that can be a little bit more everlasting than a book can. Not that books aren't everlasting, but I'm the type of person where usually when I read a book once, I probably won't pick it up again. I don't usually reread books. So having a journal that I can like write in and kind of keep to revisit over and over felt like a nice gift to give myself from one of my favorite bookstores. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to use this journal for yet, but I just think it's absolutely stunning. Like this clock world tree and like the little, what's this called? Illuminated foiling. That's not a right word. I don't know what this is called. Holographic holographic painting on it is super cool. I had to remember what it was called from the Pokemon cards. Those were like all the rage when I was a younger kid. Anyway, God, so many tangents today. I haven't done this in a really long time. Anyway, so this is the last thing from Books Inc. And that is it for this little series about my favorite Bay Area bookstores. I did want to do one more, but I unfortunately did not have enough time for it. And I also have only been to that bookstore once, so maybe it'll be something that I do when I go visit in the future if I can ever get back to that bookstore. But yeah, thanks for tuning in again. I'm hoping that I can start posting videos again a little bit more regularly now that we're kind of moved and settled in, but I am still doing wedding planning, which has been quite stressful. So we'll see how my schedule works out for that. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.